Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here on Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network. Of course, the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network can always be heard on Spreaker.com, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Podcast Addict, on TuneIn, and on Google Podcasts. So you can listen to the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network wherever you can go. And of course, this COVID-19 business has really damaged all over boxing, not just here in the Beltway, but definitely we feel it here. And we have a lot more cancellations and postponements to talk about this week. We also have an interesting situation took place outside of boxing as one of our Beltway boxers regained her title by a governing body's decision. And we're going to pay tribute to a young man, who passed away this week, not in the Beltway, but definitely a well-known, famous, and a wonderful boxer and a master trainer himself, I should say. Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network, brought to you as always by Real-Time Pain Relief. From boxers to ballerinas, for shoulder pain and muscle strain, everything between, Boxing Law on the Beltway recommends Real-Time Pain Relief, the natural, plant-based, safe, fast, and effective ointment. Go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of Real-Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real-Time Pain Relief, the official pain relief of the 2020 Daytona 500. Rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com. She has great weight loss tips, great jewelry, great training methods as well. And you can go to her website at Deborah, Debra Spears.com. Well, as we said, this coronavirus situation has really just damaged not only just the boxing world, but all over the world. There's so many. We are in a new normal, folks. Definitely, that's what we are. We're in a new normal, and a lot of things are happening, and now a lot of things are not happening. I think it's more to the point. So we have more cancellation to give you. We told you about, of course, the show that was scheduled for March 14th. That's postponed. That's the official word we're getting. It's postponed. The Golden Gloves championships are postponed. That's what we're giving. Now, the card that was scheduled for Friday, April 17th at the MGM National Harbor Casino, Oxon Hill, Maryland. That was the Matchroom Boxing card. That has been canceled, according to the words they used in that press release. Been canceled due to the COVID-19 outbreak. Now, the card was scheduled to feature main event between Regis Prograis and Maurice Hooker. Also a contest between Cecilia Brackhouse and Jessica McCaskill for the Unified Female Welterweight Championship. I really wanted to see that bout because I wanted to see Cecilia Brackhouse. I'd heard so much about her. She's arguably the best female boxer in the world right now. I really wanted to see her, and I'm disappointed to not see her, but the obvious reasons why we can't see her. Now, as of this week, there were no Beltway boxers scheduled to be on that card. We heard that Mia Ellis was trying to get on that card once she could not get on the card that was scheduled for March 14th at the MGM National Harbor Casino. But it's a moot point now. But there were no other Beltway boxers scheduled to be on that card. Now, here's what's happening, and this is why you kind of hesitate when you say postponements for a lot of these things now coming forward, because in Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, who I think has done an outstanding job, not on a political tip, but again, I think he's done an outstanding job in leadership for the state of Maryland. He's decreed that all casinos and racetracks in Maryland to be closed indefinitely. So what that means is not only shows at MGM National Harbor Casino, possible future shows at Live Casino in Hanover, Maryland, where we've had the Jetta Promotion shows for the last 2 months. They're in jeopardy. The Washington Golden Gloves, the Virginia, North Carolina Golden Gloves, they're all in jeopardy because of the ban by Governor Hogan. The closing by Governor Hogan, not the ban, the Governor Hogan closing. So there's no official word on whether the Washington Golden Gloves, which are being held at Rosecroft Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland, what's going to happen in that situation. Okay? So we're having a lot of difficulty surrounding that because of the closing by Governor Larry Hogan. So we have to just wait and see what's going on with that, because that can go in any different direction. So hopefully the closing will be lifted, and all the casinos and the racetrack can be back together, and not only does not hit the Beltway boxing scene as far as events are concerned. One of our gyms is located at Rosecroft Raceway, the old school boxing gym run by our good friend Buddy Harrison. And that could be a difficult situation now because he cannot run his gym. And I know he put out a Facebook message earlier this week, I should say, because of that. And he's really afraid because, I don't think he'll mind me saying it. He's really afraid because a lot of those kids who come to that gym, and many other gyms in the area as well, they come to the gym as a safe haven because sometimes their family life, their home life isn't as good as they would like it to be. So they come to Rosecroft Raceway, they come to old school boxing to get away from that and be in a good space and be loved and helped by someone as great as Buddy Harrison is. And now they don't have that. So he's kind of afraid some of these kids without old school boxing may get into a little bit of trouble. We pray that does not happen, but that could be a situation there. So we just wholly hope that the closing, I should say, is not for a long period of time. Now, we do have some Beltway Boxing news this week, and that involves the heavy-hitting diva herself, Franchon Cruz-Zern of Baltimore, Maryland. Of course, she is a two-time two-belt world champion, should say, WBC and WBO world super middleweight champion. And, of course, back on January 11th, a lady by the name of Alejandra Jimenez defeated Franchon Cruz-Zern by a 10-round split decision in San Antonio, Texas, to win both those titles. However, the Alejandra Jimenez failed a drug test. She tested positive for a banned substance. The substance is known as stanozol. So, a lot of things have happened because of it. Number one, Jimenez was suspended by the Texas Boxing Commission for 90 days. Number two, the WBC suspended her title reign as world champion. And earlier this week, the WBO reinstated Franchon Cruz-Zern as the female super middleweight championship. They stripped Jimenez of the title. Here's what Luis Batista Salas, who's the chairman of the WBO Championship Committee, said in a press release. Quote, having this committee examined and reviewed all the applicable rules and regulations, having granted all parties substantial due process, having confirmed with the Texas Licensing and Regulation Department, an administrative regulatory body with jurisdiction over the official bout that took place in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome, and having considered petitioner's request, the committee rules as follows. Therefore, be it resolved by the WBO World Championship Committee, according to WBO regulations of World Championship Contest as follows. WBO World Championship Committee hereby strips Ms. Alejandra Jimenez of her WBO Female Super Middleweight Championship title, and it reinstates WBO female participant Ms. Franchon Cruz-Zern as the official WBO Female Super Middleweight Champion, end quote. So that is the situation there. So congratulations, I guess, to Franchon Cruz-Zern. There were, of course, as we talked about the fight when it took place back on January 11th, after it took place, there were a lot of really bad comments concerning Alejandra Jimenez, whether or not she was actually transgendered, and just a lot of craziness that went on there. She was a former heavyweight champion, which is very rare in and of itself. But a lot of people were saying she was transgendered, and Cruz-Zern was going up against a man in this situation. You know, it was crazy. But the fact is, she did fail the drug test. In fact, she failed 2 drug tests because the B sample that the Jimenez gave the voluntary anti-doping agency also tested positive. So she was in really no shape. Cruz-Zern, who is a very strong advocate of fighting without drugs, she passed her test with flying colors. So, you know, it's just a very weird situation. But again, Franchon Cruz-Zern is again the WBO super middleweight champion, and no guarantee what the WBC is going to do because WBC did hold up the title itself. So I don't know if they just decided based on the Texas ruling of it being a no decision in that bout, whether or not WBC will reinstate Franchon Cruz-Zern as the female super middleweight champion. So congratulations once again to Franchon Cruz-Zern, the heavy-hitting diva out of Baltimore. Finally today, we'd like to pay a little tribute, this time to a boxer, even though he's outside the Beltway. but a man who was a very exciting boxer in his day, became a very wonderful trainer of his nephew. We're talking, of course, about the original Black Mamba, Roger Mayweather. Now, it's kind of interesting and weird, actually, that we lost two people this year with the nickname the Black Mamba. First, the second Black Mamba, which was Kobe Bryant, of course, and the original Black Mamba, Roger Mayweather. Roger Mayweather was an outstanding boxer, former world champion, really great trainer of his nephew, Floyd Mayweather Jr., and outstanding, of course, the brother Floyd Mayweather Sr., but he outstanding boxer. Didn't have a whole lot of connection to the Beltway, except he lost a split decision, a 12-round split decision, to Daryl Tyson on October 27, 1993. That was at Bally's Park Place in Lansing, New Jersey, and that's where Daryl Tyson won the USBA Super Lightweight Championship. It was a very good bout, and actually on that card, another Beltway boxer, Daryl Lattimore, he lost a split decision to Larry Barnes for the NABF welterweight title that same day. And so we wanted to pay tribute to Roger Mayweather. A very interesting situation and tough loss. He'd been ill for quite some time, but he passed away this week of his illness. So he was just 58 years old. Just very sad to hear that. But tough loss for the boxing world and Roger Mayweather. A lot of people have posted on that, and I do appreciate that. Now, speaking of Daryl Tyson in his career, I want to talk about that a little bit as we go forward, because that was a very interesting time for Daryl Tyson. It was a 2-year stretch that really was, actually, you want to go to a 3-year stretch, really, because he was about as close to being the top of his game as he was, Daryl Tyson. I think, as I talk about this, let me say this as we go forward. Since we don't have a lot of matches going on, bouts and shows going on in the area, I might use this time to go back in some of the history of Beltway boxing over the last 30-some years. We've talked about it a little bit off and on over the time of this podcast since 2012, but I really wanted to kind of focus on that now that we have the time. So we expect more of these history moments that we'll talk about on the Beltway Boxing Podcast Network. Now, as far as Daryl Tyson is concerned, back in December of 1992, he lost the bout for the WBC welterweight title, 12-round unanimous decision to Miguel Angel Gonzalez. Then in July of 93, he came back and drew a 10-round draw against another former world champion, Livingston Bramble. Then, 15 days later, Daryl Tyson flew to Caesar's Palace, and this bout was on a pay-per-view. I can't remember who the main event was, but it was on a pay-per-view against Rafael Ruelas. And I remember watching this pay-per-view and hearing Tyson's theme song, walking song, which is Busted Loose by Chuck Brown and Soul Searchers. Hearing that on a pay-per-view in Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace was incredible to hear. And Tyson would lose a 10-round unanimous decision there. Then he fought Mayweather in October of 93, won the 12-round split decision. Then in August of 1994, August 18th at the Washington Convention Center, he would fight a man by the name of Genaro Andujar. And I mentioned the story because Tyson was scheduled to fight, and it's already been noted he was scheduled to fight another Beltway boxer by the name of Reggie Showtime Green in September of 94 at the DC Armory. However, during the fight against Andujar got knocked out in the 5th round. Tyson knocked out in the 5th round, but Tyson got cut that day. And it was very weird, and I think I've mentioned the story how he was dancing wildly in the ring, Tyson was, throughout after the bout was over. And I think he was trying to work off the frustration of being cut and possibly having the bout against Reggie Green canceled. Well, it didn't happen. He was okay. They fought one of the great bouts in all Beltway boxing history, and Tyson would win a 12-round split decision. He'd win 2 more bouts and then fought a fantastic bout against Freddie Pendleton in April 29th, 1995 at the USA Arena on the Beltway Brawl card that featured Vincent Petway and Simon Brown. He would lose a 10-round TKO, but he fought his heart out that day. So I'm just a lot of this great thing. And one day I'm going to have to sit down and really talk about Daryl Tyson's career. Because I think this is a man who has always been an inspiration to me in the Beltway boxing scene, but I think is one of the best boxers to ever fight in this area to not win a world title. In fact, he didn't win a world title. Does not overshadow the greatness of Daryl Terrible T. Tyson. So we'll talk more about that as we go and do some other historical spots on this podcast. Because right now, we don't have any active, there's no active boxing anywhere. So it's not just in the Beltway, it's everywhere in the world of boxing. So we'll try to keep this going as best we can. My job right now is in a holding pattern because we're not allowed to go to Arlington Cemetery to do our tours. So I have more free time. So maybe during that free time, we'll do more of the historical significance of some of the great Beltway boxers of the past. All right. Well, that'll do it for another edition of Beltway Boxing News and Notes right here on the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network. Beltway Boxing News and Notes brought to you by Real Time Pain Relief. My daughter Courtney is here, so she's going to do the jingle with me, or do the tagline for me, to tag with us to say. So you go to freepainoffer.com, buy $10 worth of real-time pain relief. You get a free $10 tube of real-time pain relief, the official pain relief of the 2020 Daytona 500. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. Thank you very much, Courtney. And also by DeborahSpears.com. Great weight loss tips, great jewelry, and great training methods at Deborah, Debra Spears.com. Thanks for joining us here on another edition of Beltway Boxing News and Notes. I'm Gary Digital Williams. Reminding you as always, keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the boxing along the Beltway. Take care, everyone.